Ooh, what's up, jobbers, and welcome to the latest edition of the Jobber Knocker podcast. As always, Nestlemania alongside for the ride is a man that, well, when he doesn't have enough pyro, they give him a spiely dealy just to give him more pyro, JC.
I do like Spiely Dealies, and I do like Pyro. So both those check out.
Did he really need that much pyro? I don't think so.
Everyone needs a lot of Pyro.
I'm just saying.
Except for Adam Hangman Page in the first Dynamite in Boston. Yikes. That's a deep cut reference for the OG Knocker listeners right there.
Anyway, we've got a lot to talk about. We got Saturday night's main event. We've got some AEW to talk about, and as also we've got the regular parts of everything going on. I before we start, did you even watch GCW clips or TNA Genesis and all that stuff? I'm just curious.
I mean, I see the clips that get circulated online, so I see what I need to see.
Okay, all right, then we won't go deep diving into.
I mean, do whatever we want. I say, Cora Jade shows up there. It's all over my timeline, like things like that, like. Moose pulls off an incredible botched move. I see that. Joe Hendry wins a title. I see that. And, people do stupid shit and get injured. I see that too.
Okay, there you are. All right, then. All right, well, there's only one place we start, JC. Where do we start?
We start always in the Shine, Adam Mania. And where do I want to start this week? I'm looking. This wasn't my favorite week for Raw and SmackDown. I didn't think anything was like overly bad, but you know what, Nestlemania? I'm just going to start with the easy one, and that is Penta. I love Penta in WWE. They're 2 for 2 with this guy this week. They're like, you know what? Stick him back in the ring. Let him wrestle Pete Dunne. I guess they wrestled once back in the day. They ran it back here. This is a great match. Look, this Penta thing is going great. Like, it's one of those things when you get some of these guys, you don't know how it's going to go in WWE. And for the second straight week, the guy has a lot of momentum. We're heading into a big time of year, so he feels like a big deal. I'm curious to see how they continue to book him, if he's going to be involved in like a serious feud or if they're just going to keep riding these matches as long as they can. But Nestlemania, he's a must-see TV. And when I turn on that Raw Netflix, one of the number one things I'm looking forward to every week is what is Penta going to do this week? This week was a match, and once again, it delivered. And it's my favorite part of Raw on Netflix so far.
I made a joke about the Spiely Dealy and all that stuff, but like when I saw more pyro, I was like, Jesus Christ! It looks like he's got a sparkler behind him, like a giant sparkler. But anyway, they haven't missed yet with him, like you said. My only caveat with this entire thing is where's the first feud? Like, that's what I want to see, what the first feud with this guy is. Maybe we'll wait till after the Rumble. Obviously, that makes the most sense once things, clear up here. I mean, the problem I'm going to have is they're kind of like rocket shipping this guy to the moon right out of the gate here.
I don't think it's a bad thing, though, because it's one of those things like, I think with WWE so much now is the majority of people on the main roster have already been through NXT, and most of the fans have already seen them and this and that. It's like, it's very rare when you get like this person showing up from like the other places and do it. It's like a very short list of people the last like 3, 4, 5 years. So I kind of like that, make them feel like a big deal right away in Nestlemania, because this roster is fucking loaded. Whether it's Raw, whether it's SmackDown, hell, even NXT in there, these rosters are loaded. So if you bring in someone new, you got to be careful they don't get just stuck in the shuffle. It happens at AEW all the time. They're hot for a week, and then they go to the bottom of the toy box. They just become another guy. WWE so far has made Penta feel amazing. The crowd's responding to it because, like we said before he debuted, we were kind of previewing it for people who weren't familiar. Penta is just fucking cool. He's cool. He looks cool. He wrestles cool. Everything he does is fucking cool. And they're just riding that wave now. And I think it's just great TV. I don't even know what he's going to do next week. It'll probably be another match, and I'm looking forward to it. It'll probably be one of my favorite parts on that Go Home Rumble show.
Give him back Alex. I'm not even going to be for his mic man. No.
Joe, did you not watch the promo last week? Come on, bro.
He don't need no stinking mic guy.
Maybe like down the line he gets a manager, but right now, like, this dude don't need no manager. He is just red hot, and everyone is eating up everything this dude's doing. And
I think he translates pretty well. So
yeah.
The other thing that came to mind was as you saw backstage, since this is like connective tissue, I figure we talk about it here. Yeah. We have a luchador problem for one Chad Gable. He goes and talks to a Dominic Mysterio who gives him a name to deal with his luchador problem. And immediately my head went to Santos, because Santos and Dom had that agreement before the whole Judgment Day kind of thing blew up here. And I was like, okay, Santos versus Penta, I could get behind that,
Yeah, and the brand split's pretty much dead. If you've been watching the programming the last couple weeks, and one of the matches of Saturday Night Main Event also is a brand split thing. So we're in this transfer window where they can do whatever they want. That makes a lot of sense in Nestlemania, because as you know, Santos is very familiar, and he has feuded with the LWO for eternity. So,
and he's a luchador himself. So
there you go.
You take out a luchador to get a luchador. You know what I mean? So, is what it is there. Anything else that you thought was shine worthy? Wow, that's not a good sign.
I mean, it's just like I'm looking at this, and there's a lot of things that I had no problem with. They're entertaining TV, like Ray at home in San Diego on SmackDown. Like I was fine with that. You get the KO interaction and sets up a match. Cody makes a save, blah blah blah. But it's like this isn't mind blowing stuff. But for a one night thing now, where SmackDown's gonna stretch for 3 hours, I like the theme WWE's been doing the last couple weeks, where it's like I don't care what show you're on. If we're in your hometown, you're going to be on the card. We're going to do something about it. Because it's easy television, and they do so much television. So take advantage of it. I mean, hell, fucking Monday, they're in Atlanta. So guess what? Cody's going to be on Raw because he ain't missing an Atlanta show. So, it's stuff like that. Like I'm enjoying it. It's not really doing much. It's like, because Cody and KO, this thing's been sold. So we're just kind of doing it. So having Ray there at least like gave it something to do. But then you go to Raw, and Ray's doing a completely different thing because he's still feuding with the New Day here. He had the singles match with Kofi, which I think was a tag team match, but maybe Dragon Lee, I think, got banged up defending his speed title or something. So I don't know what was going on there, but like this stuff, it's not like amazing shine, but it's fine. Like I think that was good TV. It's one of those things like we're in this thing where it's like we're in Rumble season, and a lot of the big stars are just declaring for the Rumble, and that's it. So it's like we don't have a lot of this mind-blowing storytelling right now because you can't really go into the Rumble. Like there's little things and there's little tidbits, but the stories I think are really going to ramp up again after the Rumble. So we're kind of in this weird territory.
We also buried the lead that Kevin Owens came out with a shirt that said Canadian Dream, son of a security systems technician, which I thought was just stellar fucking just troll job stuff I love. And I think he did a great job, like kind of putting the importance of Rey Mysterio and how we loved him and respected him. And then of course, boom, there it is, so it's rough, but I don't know. I tend to agree. KO's kind of been the ipso facto guy you beat for the world title when you got nobody else to beat. So there it is. But I am liking what they're doing. But the more I see elements of stuff, I'm like, okay, I kind of think we're going to get a stable of like Dom, KO, Mac, and Rollins together. I don't know why, but it feels like those four together would be interesting television.
Well, to your thing on Monday, sticking with like the KO and those guys' themes, like we had, and look at anytime Sammy and KO are on screen together, my peepers pop. Like it's always good TV. Those two, like they could fight forever. It's always that they always have that link no matter what. In this segment, I think, like obviously Sammy came out, he entered the Rumble, KO interrupted, and he was pretty much being like, yeah, Sammy, I'm rooting for you. Like, whatever. We can main event WrestleMania together and do this. And he's like, I think you will win because I'm going to have your back. He says, I hope you have mine. But obviously, we know with the way KO's doing right then, it was Sammy, like big time babyface. He's also friends with Cody and KO, and like the other thing going on with Drew. And then we saw Sammy accidentally hit his other friend Rollins to end the night. So there's a lot of that stuff, like you were saying, with the connective tissue. But I'm really interested here in like how they're going to do this KO and Sammy thing. Hell, Nestlemania. If we get to a point where at WrestleMania this year, it's once again KO versus Sammy, just a non-title. I mean, I'm all for that because these two guys are just so fucking good together. But it's just crazy when I'm looking at that. I'm like, they could literally do this match again, and I'd be all for it. Just it's like one of those things like you pull them apart and you bring them back together when you have to, and but it's one of those things where it also feels like I'm looking at this. I'm like, there's so many guys here, all these like single superstars who are vying for the title. We know there's only going to be probably one challenger for each. So are all these guys going to be in singles matches? Or something I was thinking, I probably should say this for my hope, is like, what if we had like a 6-man number one contender ladder match with all these top stars at WrestleMania or something? I'm just like, my mind's going everywhere because you know how I feel about ladder matches, but it just feels like there's so many possibilities here. And every time I start to get the Mania card in my head, we get more little pieces of this stuff. And maybe they're just throwing shit against the wall to see what the fans are gravitating towards. But I'm just like, man, every time I think I got it, they throw more stuff at me and I'm overwhelmed. It's great.
I mean, there was a part of me that thought that there could have been like Sammy and the Usos against like a Rollins, Mac, and KO. I could buy that.
Yeah, 6-man tag though.
I know. I'm not I'm not in love with it either, but I'm sure they could make sense out of it all. I don't know. There's also just like the randomness of everything happening right now, which, like we said, I think Stoop said it here that, WrestleMania is set the tone. I mean, sorry, Royal Rumble sets the tone for Mania and everything else for the rest of the year mostly. So yeah, I mean, it's exciting. And of course it's our favorite time of the year because these next couple of months are just going to be a lot of fun and a lot of excitement. So
next week, Nestlemania, what are we doing next week?
30 hopes for the Rumble, baby.
Yeah, baby.
It's one of our favorites.
Favorite segment of the year.
Well, beside the knockers, let's be honest.
Yeah, well, that's not a segment. That's a show.
Okay, fine. Okay, yeah, whatever.
You gotta listen to what I say because everything I say is deliberate.
I'm not a good listener. Anyway, here's something that's in my shine this week.
Ooh, let's hear it.
Jimmy Uso versus Mello. Now, I'm going to say this right now. Now, I'm going to guess that most of this has to do with Mello, but Jey Uso is not the better Uso singles wrestler. He might sell more merchandise. He might have maybe a little bit more going on with him right now because he's Mr. Yeet and all that stuff. And he's just printing, money and all that stuff, which is great. But in ring, I think Jimmy Uso might be, dare I say, the better singles wrestler out of the Usos. Because I watched this match, it was just fucking super hot fire. And then it got DQ'd with the bloodline, so we know we're not done with that. And then Mello gets jumped, and Jacob has this whole thing, and he's just like, and then Solo tries to come out, they boom, he leaves, the whole thing. I'm like, all right, this whole thing works out swimmingly. I would assume the Usos have to come back together to face, the Tama Tonga, maybe the Tonga Loa, if not a Jacob Fatu. We'll see.
Yeah, no, I think you're exactly on it because I don't know. I mean, I don't know how many years ago this was. I wish I had the exact year, but remember the only other time we really saw Jimmy as a single star was, I believe, Jay. Like, I don't know if he tore his ACL or his Achilles, but he was pretty much out 8 to 12 months. And Jimmy did a lot of singles wrestling. And actually, I think for that calendar year, whatever year it was, he had the most matches in WWE. Like, but when people do the stats of live events and TV and everything, and I remember he was in the Rumble that year, whatever, but just like, he wasn't like a massive push, but he was just on TV wrestling. And it was always one of those things. I think back then it was really perceived that Jimmy was the better Uso. I think Jay being the better Uso is a more nuanced thing because of that run against Roman and the main event Jey Uso when he kind of did when Jimmy got hurt. And Jay, for sure, like you said, character-wise in the entrance has really taken off as a megastar, but I think it's always kind of been, we've always said, like, when Jay gets to big-time matches, it's just kind of like, except for, like, the Roman ones. Whereas, like, Jimmy, like, yeah, you're right, Nestlemania. It always is banners. He obviously has had his demons in the past, which kind of derailed him here and there and whatever. But, I mean, look at Big Jim. I'm a fan of Big Jim. I would, Dom and I always like to troll Ray and everyone else being like, about Jimmy and no Yeet and how he's better than Jay. But I think you're right. If we're just judging on in reign, I think it is Jimmy, and this is a good showcase this week. Obviously, working with Mello helps anyone, but I think you're right on the money here. I wish I knew the exact year of that Jimmy run, but I want to say it was like like 19 or 20 or I don't know, maybe like right before COVID. I can't remember exactly.
I remember that COVID happened and Jimmy got injured, and Jay was stuck by himself for a very long time.
Yeah, and that's what kind of set up. That's what kind of set up the Roman stuff. Yeah. So this, I mean, this might have even been 17 or 18. It might even been even earlier than that.
Okay. Jimmy sells better than Jay, certainly, says the Joe Stopper.
That is correct for sure.
Jay also has this weird thing where, like, he's always like doing something with his mouth and his teeth, and he's just, I get it. It's the same thing with Cody, where Cody does that like stupid grimace I hate, where he's just like
resting Cody face, baby.
I'm mad. Snarl. Like that's just all it is. Whatever. I don't care. Anyway, it is what it is. Let's see. Anything else? I am curious your thoughts on this because I just started like thinking about this more and more and more. So I really loved, since we're talking about it, the Gunther explanation to Jimmy about like just the setup of it. Like we know it's a foregone conclusion to Saturday Night's Main Event. Gunther is going to be Jey Uso, but there was a hint. There was like the cool moment of him with the kid outside and Jimmy doing Jay doing the yeet with the kid on Monday night. That's a moment for that kid. And then, he gets talking and just the idea of like Gunther saying you're the mascot, like you're the fucking mascot of the WWE.
He kind of is.
But he is. He's like, he is the mascot. And then like just the whole thing about like, and then he spun it around with like, yeah, that's my team. They got my back. And like, I main evented WrestleMania. You didn't. And then he looks good with a title. I know. And it's, I don't see him winning, but they're doing a great job with these, like, I wouldn't say foregone conclusion feuds, but they're definitely like, there's like a snowball's chance in hell he might win. Maybe. but like,
they give you enough to keep you interested. And
Yeah.
that's like a good thing, is like they find ways, like it's compelling. Because look, even if they didn't, people are gonna watch for the entrance. They love Jey Uso and like whatever. Like the standard fans gonna think like, you never know. There's always a chance. But yeah, no, it's especially in this run, like it is. We've got the point now where we're unsure if Gunther is going to go into WrestleMania with that world title. I think he probably is at this point, but it could, depending, because it seems like they're kind of, not to call Jey Uso like you would say like it can, but they're kind of lining up people that he is going to beat. We haven't, because I thought maybe at the Rumble we'd get a serious match, whether it was a CM Punk or something like that, but it's not. It's like he's defending a Saturday the main event likely against Jey Uso, and then after this, it's like, I don't know when he's going to defend again. Is it not going to be till Chamber? Which leaves it pretty much where it is likely he will be going into WrestleMania as the world champion. But it does feel like maybe he won't be actually main eventing, quote unquote, but we shall see. Because obviously when you have like 4 world titles, pretty much 2 men's, 2 women's, and then never mind, you have to do like a Roman Punk match or something like that could main event without a title. So there's a lot of possibilities, but it is interesting to see, because I feel like once we get after the Rumble, you start to get a clearer picture of where we're going. But it does feel like there are so many possibilities, kind of the theme I hit on earlier. And it's just like with Gunther and Jey, there's a ton of possibilities for these guys. And we kind of just saw it with Jey, where they gave him an Intercontinental title run for like a month and then gave it right back to the guy. I don't think it's completely out of the question that Jey wins the title and then maybe he's the guy that passes it on to some sort of heel to set up a type of match at WrestleMania. I highly doubt it. But it's one of those things, like they've done enough to put that little seed, like you said, of doubt in there. So it's like a 0.0001% chance that, you know what, never say never, but I'm going to probably say never here.
There was a part of me that was going to use this as my hope, but I feel like we're here, so we might as well talk about it. There's a part of me that thinks that there's a snowball's chance, like I said, but there's also this like in obviously I'm not living in reality, so bear with me on this one. There in this alternative universe, Jey Uso wins the heavyweight championship for like a minute or something. Roman Reigns does not win the Royal Rumble. He's upset. Roman Reigns then challenges Jey. We get Roman to have the world heavyweight title in some type of tribal yada yada, run it back. And then that happens. Then CM Punk can call in a favor. We have Punk and Roman for that World Heavyweight Championship. I could see that happening. But then I feel like you diminish. Do you diminish? I feel like you diminish the title for Roman Reigns, because like a short reign for Reigns at this point seems weird.
I feel like if they were going to do something like this, it would have had to happen by now. Okay. Because it's just, that's a lot of Roman appearances. Yeah. So we got to be realistic with that. But it's one of those, I feel like you're right. It would make everything cheap. I think at this point, if Roman doesn't win the Rumble, he's probably not going to be in a title match at WrestleMania. I think that's pretty set. Like it doesn't feel like it will be. There'll be other plans for him, which there's ever a guy who doesn't need a fucking title, it's Roman Reigns and whatever he's facing. So that's fine. But I feel like at this point, like, I think it would be like the person you've kind of linked it to, whereas like, does this title get on Punk before Mania? Because I think besides Punk, I don't really see a clear path of anyone taking this off of Gunther in time for WrestleMania without it feeling kind of like, what did we just do? Because, so and it's also one of those things like Punk has the babyface going into WrestleMania. Do you want that when you already have Cody going into WrestleMania as a babyface champion? You have Rhea as a babyface champion. You have Tiffy as so it's one of those, like, it feels like at this point, Gunther being the only like true, Tiffy kind of acts like a heel, but let's be real, she's not. The only true heel world champion right now is Gunther. It feels like it's going to stay there.
Mm-hmm. All right. Anything else you got that's shine worthy?
I enjoy tag team wrestling on SmackDown. The Machine Guns and Los Garza, great match. Your boys ran in, so I guess what that sets up next week. WrestleMania, more tag team wrestling. Keep spinning the wheel. I'm fine with it. Just give me more tag team wrestling. You got fucking 3 hours. Fill an hour of it with tag team wrestling. Fine with me.
There's a part of it with the whole DIY thing, like just like afterwards, and then of course the attack on Apollo, which means I assume we're getting a Gargano Apollo match on Friday. That's a whole thing. But I just love like. I'm starting to enjoy Johnny Gargano as like a sniveling little shit. I didn't expect him to be that way. He does have kind of a rat face, so I feel like I could see that. But he's such a likable person. I just feel like I don't know if he had it in him. So when he's like stringing along Pretty Deadly, I'm thinking to myself, are Pretty Deadly going to be the people that take the titles off of DIY? Like in a multi-person match by accident? You know what I mean? Like I don't know.
That would be funny. It'll probably still end up being the Machine Guns. Probably in a multi-tag person thing at Mania.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows? They drag it out for that long, but it's just like it is. I do like it because it's one of those things like because we were concerned. I'm one of the knocker nominees for most like underutilized or whatever it was Pretty Deadly, and there's a reason for that because these guys bring a lot to the table. But when you're not really focused on tag team wrestling, it's hard to get them on TV. But now that it is, you see how they can kind of connect everyone and how they can kind of move things forward and link them into storylines for tag teams just because like their depth of like character can go so far that they are such a valuable asset. And having that extra hour now, it's why I think you've always said you wanted them on Raw. But now that we have SmackDown with the extra hour, they're the team that is probably benefiting the most. Besides, obviously, Machine Guns by getting to wrestle on matches every week, but it's like Pretty Deadly, huge winners of the third hour on SmackDown.
Yes, boy, indeed. So there's that. Anything else? You want to just get heaty?
We can get heaty.
Get him off my TV. Get him off my TV. Get him off my TV. Where do we start?
I'm going to let you drive the heat this week because, like I said, a lot of the stuff from you this week was just like nothing. So, I mean, what you're hot on, Adam.
I didn't really love this. It adds intrigue. I get what they're trying to do with this Cody and KO thing with like the police on the contract again thing. And now we have to listen to HBK dance around like he's 60 years old.
Oh, I'm looking forward to this.
I'm not really looking forward to it because I feel like it's going to be
two goats in the rain, HBK and Cody. Come on. This is a JC wet dream.
But my thought is like, what is the extra thing, right? Like why all the gaga, right? Like I'm sitting here going, I'm not going to be interested in see what happens. I mean, like, I want to see the kaboom. I know these two are going to fucking kill each other when it comes to the ladder match. It's going to be great. But all I keep thinking about was like, what is it like? This is the last time we face each other, or like, you know what I mean? Like, there's got to be something going on.
My first initial thought was it probably has something to do with the move that KO used on Cody.
Okay.
But we'll see. It's the intrigue, Nestlemania. You get another reason why you have to watch Saturday. I mean, they have the meat match, which has me at the door. But yeah, I mean, HBK and Cody and KO in the same ring. Like, yeah, what are we talking about here? This is great.
Yeah. I feel like I'm piling on Bayley here too, but Bayley on SmackDown, Bayley on Raw. I thought both of them were kind of matches. I know that Tiffy needed a win clean. That's fine. And then you get to the Nia thing. And I think this is more of a Nia thing. This was a weird thing for me where I wanted to see Nia and Bayley wrestle because they did have a good match back in NXT. They had a lot of the same spots that they had back then too, but something just felt off to me. I don't know what it was. I don't know if maybe they've just lost their connection and their chemistry. It was a longer match, but I just felt like it didn't really click. And then I watched, Roxanne kick that poor fan in the face while she got dragged out. And it was like, okay, fine. Like, but then it was all about, okay, Nia and Rhea. And it just felt like, I know Bayley's probably a team player and all that stuff, but I just feel like something needs to happen with Bayley. Like we've been saying this.
Well, it is. She's on Raw now.
No, I know. And I'm hoping.
And I think that's why I think we talked about this like recently. Like I know we did probably like 2 months ago where it's like Bayley to Raw makes the most sense in the world. And that's why when I saw she was the first challenger for Tiffy, I'm like, okay, well, here you go. You got Tiffy beat someone who's going to leave to another show, and then Bayley will get a boost by going on the other show. But yeah, no, it's definitely like Bayley's been kind of in this weird thing all year because she got the moment, she won at WrestleMania, and it's just like her reign was just kind of like whatever because SmackDown's women's division has been a mess. And then since she's lost it, she's just been kind of around. So yeah, no, it's definitely, and the Nia thing is tough too because it always, I think, is so frustrating in wrestling when someone just had a championship reign and they lose it. And then immediately you're just shoehorning them to challenge the other champion, like immediately. I think it kind of devalues like the divisions and both titles a little bit here. I get why they're doing it because they probably want to give Rhea a big win at Saturday main event, and then they can put Nia in the Rumble regardless. But it's just like, to me, it's just like, I never love when they book stuff like that because like in the men's division, how often do we see it where it's like someone loses a match for the IC title or the world heavyweight title, and then the next week they're suddenly challenging for the other one, whether it's going up or going down. It's just like, I don't know. It kind of cheapens it to me that it's that quick for someone to switch. And here it's just like right now with this transfer window thing, like I feel like we get most frustrated with WWE when we have this type of thing where the brand split rules get kind of like butchered a little bit and people are going wherever they want. Like the one night thing, like the Rey Mysterio for one hand, like I said, going on SmackDown in his hometown, like that works. But when you're having this thing, it's like if Nia's on both shows every week, Bayley's on both show every week, it like overdoes it with them. Like it's too much. It's like it kind of like spreads things thin and it just doesn't feel as special. So you get a lot of these diluted storylines, and I'm just kind of watching. It's just like, yeah, I am kind of sick of Bailey right now. Yeah, I am kind of sick of Nia right now. It's like you're not doing your stars any favors by doing it. I mean, Cody's on both shows every week too, and it's just like, okay, well, this Cody KO thing, like we're excited for it, but it's like there's just too much of it in our face. It doesn't need all this. Less is more, and unfortunately, the way it is right now, when you're trying to push Netflix, like they're using a lot of these SmackDown stars to kind of help prop it up, but it's like I don't think you need to rely on it as much at this point, but. Hopefully, once we get past the Rumble, it'll be a little clearer. But I don't know. I have my doubts because I think WrestleMania season, all bets are off.
I think the other thing that you make a lot of good points. The other thing that when you were talking made me think that Nia and Rhea already had this kind of big giant blow off before, like before she became champion. So I feel like this is a rerun of some sort. You know, it might not be the Monday night rerun. Go get your right there as JC has it, the tpublic.com/jobberknocker. Get anything Monday night rerun. But the other thing too in my head was like, why, like Rhea, who's going to face Rhea? Probably Becky, probably, you know, like maybe Charlotte. Like, does that matter? I don't know. We already had Becky and Rhea, or Charlotte and Rhea. It feels like there needs to be an influx. Like on Tiffany, I'm excited to see what happens with Tiffany. That's great.
Tiffany Charlotte feels like that's good to go, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
I'm all for that.
Yeah. But the other side is very interesting to me because I don't think we've ever had a Rhea and Becky. We've never had a WrestleMania match, at least. I know that.
Yeah,
I don't know if that gets you excited though.
It doesn't, truthfully. And like maybe it's one of those things with Rhea, you have to do a multi-person or something, but it's just like a Rhea Becky. I don't know. I'm going through in my head and there's things popping in where it's like I wouldn't mind seeing them take a swing. Because obviously things are trending where it feels like there's going to be something with Jade and Bianca and Naomi, like they're all going to be in their own vortex. Where it's just like where Rhea, I feel like you have an opportunity if like you don't do Becky, like take a swing. Because honestly, like the way things are going, I was like, it feels like Rhea and Nia at WrestleMania, but they're obviously doing it now, so that isn't going to be the WrestleMania match. So I'm just like, why not take a swing? Why not take a swing with somebody new? And you know what? I could have saved this for my hope, but Nestlemania, you wanted off the top of the show me to link up with some TNA stuff. Well, you know what, Nestlemania? You ready for this? Bonus JC Hope. Jordynne Grace might be done with TNA. Now there's a swing. Jordynne Grace has already been treated like a big deal when she's coming to NXT when she was the TNA champion. She's been in the Rumble. I believe it was last year. She's probably going to be in it again this year. Fuck it. Rhea Ripley, Jordynne Grace. Why not take a swing? WrestleMania is already loaded with so many poster-type matches. Why not make it this one? Because immediately Jordynne Grace feels important. I feel like this is a very physical match people would love to see. Take a swing. That's what I do. Hashtag JC knows. Hashtag JC's bonus hopes come true.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that. She's a stud in every sense of the word, and a professional. As we saw what happened on Saturday night. Is it Saturday or not Sunday? Whatever night that Genesis happened.
That's a Dom question.
I don't know. Dom loves it. He's our
all TNA material. Refer to Dom. He writes articles for us on the website, so always check those out. Like he's all over this shit, man.
Total nonstop Dom and
TMD.
Total nonstop. Yeah, whatever. I'm dumb. I can't.
Neither of us can talk. That's why we do a podcast.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good idea. The other thing too that kind of happened here was we didn't talk about this, and it kind of made me chuckle. They had CM Punk do a promo, which again, it started off good. Which you know what's funny to me, and again, maybe this is me being hypocritical of Phil Brooks, and that's fine. But it's funny to me that like he was known for being the off the cuff guy, never saying the same thing twice. And it's like, you watch him now and his promos are so formulaic. He's go,
a babyface.
No, why. I know, but it's just so funny. It was like, he has his man, is it good to be alive on a Monday night in the city that we're in? And then it's just like, you know what I mean? Like he does that and that's fine. And then he starts talking about stuff. And it was good in the middle. The meat and potatoes of it was perfectly fine. And then he hits the dusty ass Hulk Hogan line, which obviously was there for comedic
cheap pop, but I was all for it. Fuck
right, and it was fine. But then at the end, he was like, on the 20th, on February 1st, I got at the Indianapolis Arena and the blah, blah, blah Saturday night. I'm just like, and there's the generic fucking, I'm yelling, screaming wrestling shit. And I just like, it bothered the fuck out of me. Like it really did, to a point I was like, you're better than that. Like the dusty ass Hulk Hogan line, great. The rest of it, couldn't care less. there's something about it where I'm like, he's probably gonna win this fucking thing. Like
he feels like the heavy favorite.
I just feel like the Heyman is a weird thing with that favor, but I feel like if it's
he referenced it in this promo too,
right? Which I feel like Cena doesn't feel like he's going to be the winner as much as it would be an awesome story. It feels like
destined for second in this. I think.
I feel like the Elimination Chamber he's advertised for, so I feel like maybe he'll be in the Elimination
match
Chamber.
to put him in.
Yeah, and he doesn't have to wrestle the whole match. He can come out last. Same thing with Reigns. I could see that too, where they both don't have to wrestle that much in the Elimination Chamber. But Punk is the I've never done it, I've never won it kind of scenario. I think that's just you talk about all the stacked people in this roster. Like CM Punk being the only one in this, I think, that hasn't won the Royal Rumble that you can see. You're like, he needs to win the Royal Rumble. The guy's like 45 years old. How many more of these he's going to have to put up through his life? I don't know. I think he's only got a couple more years left, and he's going to go to NXT and then tell everybody what to do. So it's fine.
Yeah, and I'm also curious what you think, because if he does win the Rumble, are we doing Punk Cody at WrestleMania? Because that's a guaranteed main event. I don't know if Punk Gunther is a guaranteed main event.
Well, that's a really good question, because I
feel like if he wins, it has to be Punk Cody, right?
I would think that's the case, but the intrigue factor isn't as high for me than watching. Like we're not going to do Roman Reigns versus Cody again. That's been done to death. We seem to think that The Rock is probably not going to have an official match capacity-wise.
That's what I feel, yeah.
He might get involved day of, but I don't think he's going to have the ability to do a match. So you're looking at it, and it just seems like slim pickings, unless it's Cena, right? And Cena and Cody. I mean, it's Cena and Cody.
Yeah, but then it's one of those, like, the big thing for Punk, like, obviously winning the Rumble would be huge for him, but his big thing is he wants to main event at WrestleMania. And to do that, I feel like you have to challenge Cody, because it's one of those, if it's Punk Gunther, that even if they main event night one, like, then that means Roman isn't main eventing one of the nights, which is surprising. So it's just like, there's a lot of factors with it. And it's also like, do you just have Punk and Roman main event night one without a title? Like, it just...
This is why I think there is some credence to, even if Jey Uso doesn't beat Gunther, he might beat Jey to a pulp, and then Roman Reigns may save the day, and then we get Punk and Gunther. People would
Roman
get
Gunther at Chamber for the title.
Yeah. That could happen.
That.
And then Punk is like, oh, I gotta wait, and then it's then, because think about the idea of Punk be able to choose between Cody and Roman.
Yes,
right.
And that's why I think you could use the favor, because to me, like, when I think about it, I'm like, if Punk wins the Rumble, how does the favor work? You know what I mean? It's like, if he doesn't win the Rumble, then how does the favor come into play? And it feels like the favor, for the most part, has to be something Roman related. But if Roman isn't a champion, so it's just like, we're obviously going to have a lot more clarity in all this stuff after the Rumble, because we're going to know who the Rumble is. So we'll kind of have more of an idea. But it's just like, I think that's what's making this so intriguing, is like, we see so many paths. And they have, like, it feels like no matter what they choose, it feels like a win, but it's just like, it's exciting. And the Rumble season's always exciting, but I feel like this year it feels like it's another level.
Yeah, I know. I definitely agree with you. It's just, it's so intriguing to me, because I feel like Cena doesn't need a title. I mean, obviously that's the whole point. If you give it to him right away, nobody cares.
Him losing at WrestleMania feels like
it doesn't matter,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like you can do, the whole point is, like, you're on the edge of your seat the longer the calendar year goes for Cena.
Yes.
Versus giving it to him right away. And it's just
having him main event, like, whether most likely against Cody, like the night two, it's just like, just imagine every falsie in that match. People are going to be on the edge of their seat.
Right.
So
it's tough. We're snacking, we're cooking. We are eating good.
Cheers to that, baby.
We are eating good as fans here. Is there anything else that's heady for you? I didn't really get you a chance to get upset about anything.
No, because like I said this week, I think I told you before the show, I was like watching Raw this week, but a lot of it wasn't doing to me. So if you want to do like quick heats and then maybe I can react, go for it.
I'm trying to think of other things that may have happened here. We talked, we still have the Naomi and Bianca thing going on, and Jade wrote out like, we don't know what happened or whatever. Like, we don't have new information or something. So, I mean, I imagine she's coming back at the Royal Rumble here and probably dumping one of their asses out, or both of them.
Naomi as a heel intrigues me the most. That's still my optimal thing, is that from the beginning I've said I think Naomi did it. And I think that's perfect.
I don't really know exactly where they're going to go with it. So it is interesting. I feel like Belair is too goody two shoes to, I mean, she can do it, but I think the investment is bigger.
I think it's more likely that it's one of those I don't know, because it does feel like Bianca Jade at Mania feels like it could happen, but it's also like, because you could do Jade and Naomi at like main event of a show or even at like Chamber or something, but it's just like after that, how do we get to Bianca Jade? Because one of them likely has to be a heel. Is Jade just so frustrated that she turns and blames Bianca, or do they actually make Bianca a heel? Which I still can't fathom, because Bianca's like female Cena to me, where it's just like with how popular she, like you see when they do those sign things, fucking every sign from every little girl is about Bianca. She's everyone's fucking favorite, especially with the kids. It's just like she still feels like, even though WWE like doesn't try with her, I think it's just because they don't have to, because people just love her. Mm-hmm. So it's just me seeing her as a heel like now. I can't see it yet. So it is interesting how they're going to do this.
I agree. Moving on, we've got something that I was excited about to see, and then it kind of fell flat for me, which was JBL on Raw. I felt like he didn't really add anything here. He confused the hell out of me on commentary, because the previous segment, he seemed like he was part of the New Day and hanging out with them. And then, of course, he made the backhanded compliment or joke or whatever. And then it sounded like he was supposed to shit on the New Day, but he was too busy shitting on Ray throughout and I felt like, I was like, can you just shut up, Michael? Like, I appreciate what they were trying to do, but I feel like there were too many cooks in the kitchen, because if you actually just watched it on mute, Kofi versus Ray, for the first part of it was kind of with, the fucked up power bomb and all that stuff. But then when they came back from commercial break, that thing was fucking cooking.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Those guys can go.
And I just felt like JBL didn't really add anything to it. And I don't understand it. I was hoping for more. I don't know what it was about it. It just felt like it was almost too forced, because we're in Dallas, baby. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they could have used him better. I would have been fine with just like poker segments.
Right.
Such an easy JBL segment. You can get everyone involved. And hell, they should have flew in Farouk, so I could have got a damn. Yeah. It's always a missed opportunity.
I think that's pretty much everything I would want to talk. We didn't talk about Logan Paul getting a package, but
he's back next week.
He's back. He'll be doing his own thing. It is what it is.
He'll be in the Rumble. So,
all right. Is it time to get hopeful?
Glorious.
You're my only hope.
Yep.
Would you like me to go first?
Sure.
Okay. So as we were talking here about possibilities for WrestleMania, something came up in my head, and I was just like, you know what? I kind of like the idea. The more we talk about it, this is my hope. We get CM Punk wins the Royal Rumble, right? We have this entire back and forth where, is it going to be Cody? Is it going to be Roman? Let's say Roman wins the World Heavyweight Championship, just because I like that idea, right? We're going to have, you pick, is it Cody? Is it Roman? Is it Cody? Is it Roman? Blah, 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 blah. He picks Roman, right? So then we have the entire in the balance. Okay, we have Roman versus Punk. We know that's going to just make everybody excited. We have that Heyman favor in the background, of course. Who's he going to choose? They're both Paul Heyman guys. We don't get to know what the favor is until, obviously, it turns and happens here. I think at WrestleMania, if you're going to make it Roman Reigns versus CM Punk for a championship, what's up, Clint? If you're going to do that with, the favor and the balance with Heyman, I think the favor isn't Heyman choosing a side for CM Punk here, because I think that's the logical explanation. I think this is how you get everything back on track here. You say, here's the favor, Paul. You make the call. Okay, I'll make the call. And then we have to think about it. What the hell's the call? CM Punk beats Roman Reigns at WrestleMania because Paul Heyman calls The Rock, and The Rock helps CM Punk win the championship. In doing so, CM Punk turns heel with Paul Heyman, and then you're off to the races with Roman Reigns and Rock. You reset the clock, and we'll figure it out next year. That's my hope, because I feel like when you do that, it's super interesting, because I feel like Punk's kind of done the whole gee golly gosh, happy to be here thing. And I think his bread and butter is when he's a dick. So let's just get to the point. I think that's where we're headed. So there you go. There's my hope.
Interesting.
You don't like it. I can tell.
No, I zoned out for half fitness. I don't know. I'm a little drunk.
Yeah, I can tell.
I've been drinking these pineapple margs. They're 10%.
So if you drink 10 of them, is it 100%?
I'm on the second one. I'm not going to explain to you how alcohol percentages work. We don't do that.
You're starting to slur your words a little.
Yeah, no, I'm a little. If I take off these sunglasses, I'm going to feel drunk. So I'm going to keep them on, because it's going to keep the light level low. Jeez. But yeah, no, these things, like I've been just, this problem with the podcast is just like, whenever I stop talking, I just drink. So like all the time that you're talking, I'm just like drinking.
So if I go on too long.
No, I'm not saying that, but it's just like if I'm not talking, I'm drinking. And when it's 10% by volume, like.
So do you want me to give you the TV guide version, or were you not listening?
No, I got the gist. But then I got like a text. I got distracted because I felt like I had to answer it, even though I didn't. But you know, it's whatever. I understand the gist. Rock screwing people, letting Punk get the title. That's the favor. I get it. I think Punk turning heel is where we want, because you already complained about his promo. Because, like I simply told you, he's a fucking babyface right now. When you're a babyface, you got to fucking suck up to the crowd, and it cheapens it because we love CM Punk when he has an edge. So I understand.
All right.
Should I give my hope?
Yes, please.
Well, my hope's just kind of, a thing that I came up with right before the show because it made me laugh. And you, off the top of the show, I'm the only one who's done it so far, and I'm going to do it again. You want me to do some connective tissue here with fucking TNA and GCW? Well, GCW, I can't tell you shit. But TNA, I can do more connective tissue. And I'm looking at this, and you asked me what clips I saw. I saw the awesome Botch by Moose clip, because it's always enjoyable. I know how much you love Moose. So I decided, why not incorporate him into my hope? Because Nestlemania, there is one match we all want to fucking see. And it involves a glorious amount of fucking meat. Obafemi is the current NXT champion. Moose, former TNA champion, I believe. And yeah, he's a big boy. Oba's a big boy. I can't think of many Moose matches I'd want to see, but one Moose match I would want to see is when you take a big hunk of meat and you take an even bigger hunk of meat and you throw that hunk of meat in the ring and you let them meet all over each other. So my hope's pretty simple, Nestlemania. This partnership has been a thing, but now it's even more of a thing. We have fucking Triple H tweeting out that you should watch fucking Genesis. That's where we at in 2025. It's fucking cool. Obafemi versus Moose for the NXT championship at one of these big shows the next month. Let it main event. Give me the meat. Hashtag Nestle loves this. Hashtag JC knows. Hashtag JC's hopes come true. Hashtag Nestle loves moose meat. What do you think about this match?
I'll be honest with you. Obafemi is like three generations, they start with Moose as the first generation, and like 5 generations later is Obafemi. They hope Moose looks like Obafemi. They hope Moose looks, sounds, anything. Like, is anything sniffing Obafemi? And Obafemi is just intensely so much better than Moose in every category you will ever see in your life.
Yeah, he'll win the match, but come on, it's meat versus meat. Big boy versus big boy. Company versus company.
I don't understand why anybody on this earth would think that Moose is the guy.
Look at him.
TNA.
Just look at him.
No, I don't. I refuse.
That's what it is. It's like
I refuse to believe it. I refuse to believe it.
You don't have to watch him wrestle, and you see him, and you're interested.
I'm not interested.
Then you watch him wrestle.
He's kind of
a lot less interested, but he gets you in the door.
The minute the bell rings, he is like a 2 left feet bumble stumble kind of guy, and it's not even like enjoyable.
You're already in the door, and you're already watching.
Right, so but at some point the bell has to ring, and you have to deliver. He doesn't deliver. Hey, listen. You can tell me that when he looks the part, he sounds the part. When the bell rings, it's like, come on. It's like getting a first date. You open the door, and then boom, you're just like, well, that's not what I expected. You know?
Yeah.
Moose is like, I've never done
this.
Moose
is a catfish. But you know what?
Exactly. Catfish. You know that's what his name should be. Catfish.
You know when you're okay watching a catfish? When it's wrestling the fucking stud of all studs, Obafemi. Because here's the thing, Nestlemania. Obafemi will beat him. Obafemi will meet all over him. So you know what? Moose will just be another notch in the meaty belt.
Fine. You know what? Fine. You know what? I don't have to watch it. I don't have to like it. I don't have to think about it.
You'll watch it and you'll like it.
Before we get on to the next segment, Clint asked us that WWE 2K25 will be coming out. Who do you want on the cover? I think Punk is probably the most logical situation here. I don't think they're going to do Cody again. I don't think they're going to do Roman again. So maybe Liv and Punk maybe, but I don't know.
Yeah, I would say Punk could be one, but I think they've done Cena
maybe Cena, right?
They've done him a million times. They've probably done Roman. Last year they had the one where Cody was the cover athlete, but then they had they always did the expanded edition. I think it was Bianca and Rhea. But this one, it feels like Punk or Roman to me.
Okay. All right. That's fine. All right. Don't call it a comeback. She's been here for a little bit and looks a little bit like Chris Kattan. I'm going to give my comeback to Zoe Stark, a sniper. That's right. I hope my boy Guthrie is listening.
I laughed my ass off when he said that. And then he had to explain it.
Yes, sniper. That fucking drop kick.
Don't explain it.
That fucking drop kick was fucking oof. Just the way she hit fucking Dakota Kai, I thought her soul left her body.
Maven-esque.
I was just like, obviously there was wrongdoing on either side, but then the more the match went on, I was like, this woman is coming for Dakota Kai like Dakota Kai owes her money. I was watching it. It was a stupid tag match, and I was just sitting there being like, all right, Zoe, calm down. Nope, just fucking kept doing these innovative maneuvers and snipers. She is right at the level where she needs to be. At the Intercontinental Championship, I could believe that for like a small run or something, perfectly fine. I think this was the week that woke me back up and being like, you know what? She might look kind of stupid looking, but you know, she's quite a sniper. She can fucking go in that ring. That's all. What?
I'll say this. If I was in Zoe Stark's shoes, I'd go all after Dakota Kai too. So, you know.
Wouldn't we all? Yeah. Wouldn't we all? Scorpion kick. What's your comeback, big boy?
Be fabulous. B-Fab got in the ring on SmackDown Nestlemania. She was all on her own because the Street Profits are out of action. Look it. I love B-Fab. I think we all love B-Fab. She's a stud. Her character work on point. Her promo work on point. In the ring, she has been working her ass off. She's been in the dungeon with Natalya and TJ. Fact. Trying to get better and better. And you know what? I'm seeing progression because before, like, it was really, really bad. But she's getting there. Like, this obviously wasn't a 5-star match. This wasn't must-see TV. Hell, she didn't even win. But it's one of those things like, I like to see that she's working at it. We've heard she's working at it. And look it, SmackDown's 3 hours now, bro. So you can mix in a B-Fabulous match every now and then because B-Fab's great. She should be on our television. And you know what? It's one of those things like, I feel like you can do all the training in the world you want, but there's nothing for like the real life stuff. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's like in football. You can do all the prep and you work, you can do all the simulations, all the preseason, but until you get into a real game on Sunday, you don't know how people are going to react. And for B-Fab, it's like she can train in the dungeon. She can do matches at live events, but being in front of a live crowd on live TV, you can't simulate that. So you got to get reps under your belt. This was a way for her to get some reps under her belt. So I'm happy for her. I'm glad it's happening. Let's continue to expand these divisions. We have 3 fucking hours on SmackDown. Less fucking overexposure of our top stars, more exposure for our mid-tier and lower level stars, because that's how you bring everyone up with you and maximize those 3 hours. So B-Fab's getting my comeback this week.
Nice that you gave a jobber alert a comeback. Thanks. Appreciate that.
Hey, she was on TV. She was in a match, and my clock said 3:01, so no jobber alert.
No, it was enhancements for sure. For sure.
Yeah,
it was like 2 minutes, pal. 2 minutes.
3:01.
No.
3:01.
No. Anyway, it's time for the big old finish. We got to talk about Saturday night's main event. We got to talk about AEW. We got to talk about anything else that happens on this entire thing. Where would you like to start there, Joshua?
On SmackDown this week, we have LA Knight, versus Tama Tonga, and we have the Motor City Machine Guns versus Pretty Deadly. And on Raw and WrestleMania, like we mentioned earlier, Logan Paul returns. The War Raiders take on Judgment Day, but not JD and Finn. It will be JD and Dom stepping in for Finn. We didn't really talk about that, but a little thing being like, oh yeah, Finn will be cool with it. So they're clearly continuing to set up stuff there. And like we said earlier as well, Cody will be on the show because Raw is in Atlanta.
Sounds all like good stuff. Seems like foregone conclusion kind of stuff. Nothing terribly exciting at this point, but you know, it's cool. It's cool. Do you want to do AEW first, or would you rather do Saturday?
No, let's predict Saturday in the main event. So we're going to save AEW for the end. We have 4 matches scheduled. This will count for the predictions as our prediction master TJ confirmed earlier. So first up, Nestlemania singles match for the Women's World Championship. Rhea Ripley defends against Nia Jax. Give me Rhea Ripley.
Give me Rhea Ripley. She just got the thing back. She does not lose in general. So there you go.
Easy one. We go to a hard one next. Singles match. And oh my God, Nestlemania. We kind of like briefly hit on this earlier, but we have a meat match, a generational meat match. Roar! Braun Strowman returns, taking on the Samoan werewolf, Jacob Fatu. I cannot tell you how fucking excited I am for this fucking match. Sold me this whole card. Who you got?
I mean, the foregone conclusion in my head is to say Jacob Fatu because he's Jacob Fatu. But then there's a part of me that says
Braun wins a lot of matches.
Braun does win, but there's also a part of me that feels like this could get thrown out or double DQ. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I don't have enough nuts to say double DQ. So I'm going to pick Jacob Fatu on this one. But if I come back on this program next week and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Have enough nuts, Adam. Honest to God, pick it, because I don't see a world where Braun Strowman's up and Fatu is down. I feel we're on the rise of the werewolf here, folks. So I mean, you got to pick Fatu.
Yeah, especially with what they're doing story-wise with Solo. It feels like it is really Jacob's time to shine. He also has the Tama Tonga in his back pocket, so give me Jacob Fatu for the dub. Next up, singles match for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. The reigning champion, Braun Breaker, defends against Sheamus. Nestlemania. Is this the moment for Sheamus?
I certainly hope not. I feel like Braun Breaker is the star. Braun Breaker is the thing. I think having Sheamus continue to chase it makes it more interesting, because once you give it to him, then what? Then what? What do you do with Sheamus? You might as well call it a career after that.
I mean, he is kind of old, but yeah, no, I'm not to the extreme that you think there, but I've been thinking this one's, I've kind of been going back in my head because I'm like, yeah, Braun Breaker, you can put me down for that. But it's like, if they want to make these things feel kind of special, like you could do this moment here, because it's also just like this. Braun Breaker has a lot of possibilities. You can put him in the Rumble. Hell, he could be a fucking contender to win it even without that IC title. But it's just like, it's how many opportunities are we going to give Sheamus? Because if we're doing this here, probably isn't going to happen at WrestleMania. So it's like we're kicking this can way down the road, but I don't have the balls to make that pick. So I'm going to take Braun Breaker as well. Next up, main event, singles match for the World Heavyweight Championship. Gunther defends against Jey Uso. I mean, I'm picking Gunther, but I'm glad this is main eventing this show.
I'm also picking Gunther, but Gunther should win, as we talked about. But imagine if we live in a world where Jey Uso wins. Imagine.
I don't want to imagine that world. I don't want a fucking mid-carder holding the world championship.
Our boy Ray would be eating all over himself.
I fucking love Jey Uso, but he's perfect for what he is.
He's a mascot. That's a perfect way to describe him.
High mid-card, can dabble in the main event mascot. He is the ultimate TV guy, ultimate babyface. But at the end of the day, he is the loser of this match. There are levels to this game, Adam Mania.
Does he feel like he's like the fanatic, like the Philly fanatic? That's what I feel like when I look at him. He's the big honk horn and the fucking.
I mean, that's one of the coolest mascots. So
I would think there's no better mascot than the Philly fanatic. So I mean, that to me, that's praise personally. But
I mean, Gritty's pretty cool.
Nah, I don't know about that.
You don't like Wally? What are you, not a Red Sox fan?
Oh my God, Raleigh, fuck Wally. Give me a fucking break.
Wow.
Green Monster. Ooh. Wow. He just like they just ripped off Oscar the Grouch and put a fucking glove on him. That's it. No, leave it to
except for he's not grouchy at all.
No, I'm just saying, but that's all they fucking did. Like, leave it to fucking the Red Sox management to be the laziest motherfuckers in the world. They're like, oh, I don't know, Green Monster, okay. Like,
he's literally a Green Monster.
I know, but it's
what else do you want him to be?
I know. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying it's lazy. That's all. It's just like they didn't even.
Also, how do you know that that Oscar the Grouch came before Wally the Green Monster?
Are you out of your fucking mind? Do you know how long this Sesame Street has been going on? Do
you know how long the Green Monster has been existing? I mean, that fucking park is ancient.
Listen, do you want to? I keep talking. When did Wally first appear? Let's see. Are we gonna get it? The first time the official mascot happened was 1997. In your fucking face.
Oh, wow. That is very recent.
Yes. Fuck you. That's what I'm telling you.
I mean, hey, Oscar the Grouch might have been 98, except for I remember him when I was.
Oh, fuck off. Oscar the Grouch has been around since the 60s or 70s, bro.
Favorite Sesame Street character? Go.
My favorite Sesame Street character of all time?
Yeah.
It's Oscar the Grouch or Bert and Ernie. Those guys are hilarious.
Oscar the Grouch makes so much sense for you. Which one's Bert? Which one's Ernie again?
You must be drunk. You have no idea.
No, Bert's the yellow one, right?
Oh my God.
Right? No, he's a banana. Ernie's the orange one, right?
Ernie's the baby face. Bert's the heel.
So growing up when I was a little kid, like I loved Bert apparently.
Because you're a heel.
Fucking the Bert toys. My sister loved Ernie because her favorite color was orange. So I had to confirm. But my favorite one is fucking the Cookie Monster, bro. Who doesn't love cookies? What the fuck is wrong with you? Come on.
I am Cookie Monster.
You liking Oscar the Grouch the most is the most Nestle thing ever. So I rest my case. At least you don't like Big Bird, that stupid fucking Big Bird.
I do like the Count too. I mean,
yeah, Count's cool. He has
anyway,
good cereal.
I would imagine if we had our boy the backcracker in here, he'd be photoshopping me in a trash can in 2 seconds. You have no idea. So
Nestle the Grouch.
Nestle the Grouch. Yep. Green face and everything. be a fucking puppet.
Itself.
Yeah, it does. All right, so shall we get to blindfolding ourselves and talking about TNA here? I mean, not TNA, excuse me, AEW.
We can talk about TNA if you want. I believe in Joe Hendry. He's the new champ, right? He beat Dolph Ziggler.
Is it like, it feels like it's 6 months too late?
No? Nah, it's not. It's one of those things like that. It definitely probably is. It's like the Cody thing. They should have done it the year before, but they didn't. But they knew whenever they did it, it wasn't going to matter as long as they did it, and they fucking did it. So
it's fine. I find it sneaky suspicious that the WWE says the partnership, and then the guy they love the most just wins the title out of nowhere.
I don't buy into that as much because I feel like it's one of those, like, it's a new year for them, and if you're truly starting a new era of TNA, like, then yeah, you want him as your champion. It was the same reason, like, when NXT did this new era on CW, who won the fucking title? Trick Williams. Like, it's just, you want your biggest baby face going on all the shows, promoting it, and this partnership. It makes so much sense. So Joe Hendry's going to be one of our Rumble hopes next week. Like, we'll get there.
Okay. You ready for Dynamite?
Dynamite. Yeah.
Now you're drunk, so you might have a better opinion of this than you normally do.
I mean, the card, you sent the card earlier. I glanced at it. Didn't look that bad.
Samoa Joe versus Nick Wayne right out of the gate. Like, what the fuck?
I mean, you know how I fucking don't give a fuck about Samoa Joe. So
Samoa Snores, you would call him.
Yes.
Julia Hart versus Jamie Hayter in the house, part 2.
I'm all for this. I mean, these are two of my girls, two studs. I love them both dearly. I will be watching every frame of this match.
Jamie has to win this, right, to make it 1-1. You would think
probably, but then again, I mean, Julie's just so fucking good at. She's like the perfect character for AEW. It's like they need more of her.
Did you hear that the Dirties are saying that they're keeping the House of Black without the House of Black name for the Hounds of Hell? That's going to be the name.
Malachi's coming back to WWE, so.
Well, no, it's funny to me. Hounds of Hell just makes me think of Seven Nation Army from Seven. You know, now the Hounds of Hell. You know that whole.
I mean, Julie is a stud. She did this gimmick better than Alistair did, so she should fucking keep this gimmick. This
is a must-win situation, or fuck you, Tony Khan. It is the tag team championships as Private Party is taking on the Hurt Syndicate. Give me what I want. Give me the Hurt Syndicate, because this fucking tag team of Private Party is a private fucking poop party. I do not want to watch this.
You really are hating on them. It's like I always like Private Party, so I'm happy that they're the champs now. I just don't think they have a very good division. I don't know. I feel like there's some schmoz going on here. Like, I don't know. Is Bobby Lashley feuding with anyone right now? Because it's one of those. No, Swerve's feuding with Ricochet.
That's right. So no.
Yeah. So I feel like it's. I mean, who knows? Maybe they do just win, but it feels like there's going to be some good guy in here, and Private Party will escape with the titles. But we'll have to watch to find out.
Well, did someone say Gaga? Because in our next segment, we've got Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay face to face, which I assume they're just going to power up and fucking tag team so they can take on the Don Callis Thumb family.
Yeah, the Aussie show, which used to be a pay-per-view, which is now a Collision special airing at 2:30 a.m. Eastern time because of the NBA All-Star Weekend. What a fucking shit show.
I mean, if I was Tony, I'd get on the horn and say, let's put this on another day.
Yeah, it's how did they botch this so bad? You have two legit Australian superstars, and you fucked this show up.
Mm-hmm. Also,
you have Will Ospreay and you have Tony Storm, and you fucked the show up.
Also, something else that is, as we're talking about this before we get to the main event of Dynamite here, that a Saturday night's main event for free on NBC and Peacock will go up against AEW All Out or All In or whatever in Texas. That's crazy to me.
When's that?
In like July.
Oh, Saturday
like
night
their stadium
crush them because WWE is gonna fucking load that card with fucking Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns and CM Punk. They are going to take a shit on that pay-per-view.
If I was Tony Khan, I would move the date. You're still out.
He won't because he thinks he can compete.
But like, here's the thing. It's not just the like competing thing. To me, it's more of a, oh God, like they're going to take away so many eyeballs from what we're doing. And you need the eyeballs in this.
They're going to take pay-per-view buys away. It's not even eyeballs, because eyeballs, it doesn't matter. Pay-per-view buys matter.
Okay. Fair enough. And then finally, in the main event of Dynamite, I assume, is the Cope Dope takes on Pac. We have random name 1 versus random name 2.
I could not give less of a shit about this match. I would rather watch Samoa Joe and Nick Wayne than this match. Because at least that's a big guy versus a little guy. A fucking Cope and Pac. Like, Pac is just such an afterthought there. And Cope is just... His name is fucking Cope, and he thinks that's a good idea. I rest my case.
So somebody had I'm curious because you're a Cody crybaby, first day certified. And so And so my thought was, I saw this and did you
the coaster was stuck to my
okay. I thought you just dropped your drink on your
No,
lap.
the coaster was stuck to my cup, and I was looking
Okay.
at it, I was like, is that stuck? And then it fell.
Just because you're Cody Curb. I don't think this is true, but it's interesting to hear this in theory as a conspiracy theory. They were saying a long time ago, Cody Rhodes said in an interview, I don't trust any quote unquote veteran that comes in and says, yeah, I'm just here to help put the young people over. I'm here to work with the young people. And Edge is like, they were like, that's the person that Cody Rhodes is talking about. Because if you look at it, they're like, Edge just came back and they were like, Edge came back to say like, oh, or Cope said, I'm going to help all the young guys, help all the young guys. And it's like, who's he helped? Who's he helped since he's been there? He's helped himself plenty.
I think that's true across all sports because you hear that all the time. It's like the quarterback being like Aaron Rodgers, like, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to help Zach Wilson. It's just like I feel like if you want to help, you don't say it. CM Punk, for example, he never said it. He just was showing up in NXT and doing stuff, and then people would take pictures with him, and that's how he got credit. Like Cody in AEW as a veteran, like he never asked for it, but everyone fucking cited him as the reason why. You know what I mean? It's just like it's. If you have to say it, it's like when you say you're funny. If you have to say it, it's probably not true. So by Cope saying, am I wrong though? I feel like that was a pretty relevant example.
I'm funny, damn it. I don't care.
Well, there you go. But I feel like if you have to say it, it probably isn't true. Because if it's true, Nestlemania, you don't have to say it. And as we know, we might as well stand. He's a Cope chaser. He's a clout chaser. Cope, dope. Is a clout chaser. Always has been. Look, I like Edge. Always liked Edge. I think he's amazing. But he definitely, and this, like, it's like he's looking for credit. And if you're looking for credit, Cody might be right about you. Just might.
He didn't say Copeland by the name.
No, of course not. He said this like a decade ago, and
yeah,
Cope thing's happening now.
No, I know. The other thing too that is like, I cannot wait for his last match. He's like, oh, we'll get a young guy in there. He'll beat me, and then he'll get the rocket ship because you get to transfer the heat.
His last match will be Christian, and he will beat Christian.
Here's the thing.
Calling it now. Book it. Write it down. JC right official prediction.
If it's not Christian, I guarantee you it'll be someone like a Danny Garcia, and we'll go, what the fuck?
No, it'll be Daniel Bryan, and he'll beat him too.
Ugh. We always end on a sour note, don't we?
Well, because we talk about AEW at the end. Look, I said I was excited for this card, mainly because I saw Jamie Hayter and Julia Hart. So, and the Hurt Syndicate versus Private Party. I mean, those are exciting matches. So literally, the meat this week of AEW is good. The bread, the outer parts, fucking dog shit. The
Death Riders is just killing me. Just killing me in general.
Dude, they like anything that like Moxley and Wheeler Yuta and Cesaro, who's the least fucking intimidating fucking strongman I've ever met in my life. Like, Cesaro is legitimately like the strongest human on the planet, but he couldn't be less intimidating. It's the Vince. I always think of the Vince impression. Antonio Cesaro. What a pussy. It's true. Look, I love Cesaro. He's amazing, but there's nothing fucking intimidating about him. He is fucking milquetoast fucking nothing. And Wheeler Yuta, like, you fucking kidding me? And Moxley, like, yeah, I'm gonna be the champion and fucking hide the title in a bag and have my girl carry it. Great. Get the fuck off my TV. Terrible.
It's tough. And then we got Jeff Jarrett and MJF continuing. So it's just,
oh my God.
We got a lot of the thing is we all wanted to do well, but
Jeff Jarrett as a world title contender in 2025. You wonder why your company's failing, Tony. Like, what are we doing?
I will say this much. The tease of it would really upset a lot of people. Not that it's going to happen. I would say right now,
people just won't pay attention because nobody fucking cares.
I am more sure that Jeff Jarrett will not become AEW champion than anything else in wrestling.
If he does, that will be the end of AEW. I will probably never watch that programming again if Jeff Jarrett is their world champion because you just devalued the entire company. You want to give him the TNT title? You want to give him the international title? You want to give him this continental fucking bullshit title? I don't fucking care. But you give him your world championship, we might have a problem. Shad, it's time to cut him off, baby.
I think we're good. We're good?
Yeah, we're good.
All right. On that note, thank you for listening and watching the Jobber Knocker podcast. We'll be back next week with 30 hopes for the Royal Rumble. It's our game that we play every single year. We'll see you next time with some more Jobber Knockery.